Hello, all you positive heads out there. It's so good to be back with all you beautiful reflections of the one source consciousness that creates and animates all things. If you're new to this podcast, of course, we are super happy to have you here, and we just ask that you bring an open mind and heart to your listening experience and to be prepared to explore vantage points that I'm convinced will help shift or solidify your current understanding of the ultimate nature of reality in a way that is extremely empowering. Speaking of exploring powerful perspectives, I'm super excited to announce the release of my very first book, The Golden Key: Modern Alchemy to Unlock Infinite Abundance. If you're ready to alchemize the circumstances in your life so that your abundance expands to an entirely new level in 2021, head over to goldenkey.gift to download the audio or ebook as my gift to you by using the code POSITIVEHEAD.
All right, all you positive heads, welcome. Welcome, one and all. Samantha and I are so excited to be back with you today and super grateful that you are all here. Samantha's in a really cool place and it brought up a really interesting topic that she thought of. And so tell us where you are, Samantha.
Yeah, hello everyone. I am currently in Zagreb, Croatia, and I'm staying in this really amazing eco hotel. And it's in the wing of an old castle, which is where the most famous witch of Zagreb lived. And there's a very rich history of witches in Croatia, in all of in all of Eastern Europe, especially, but really in Croatia here in Zagreb, there's a very rich history of the witches and a lot of the magical things that were happening, and especially the witch trials. So I'm currently living in the home of where this very famous witch lived, and she was also killed. She was burned at the stake, essentially, here in the city as well. And it's such a fascinating thing to see how the theme of witches is really trickled through a lot of the the museums here, on the menus in stores. There's this theme of the past that they've transformed into almost like a touristy thing. But really, when you dive into it, there's so much that happened that we tend to forget or pretend it didn't really happen.
Right. Yeah. And the first question I asked Samantha about the place was like, what's the energy like there? Because, that kind of energy tends to stick around in a place. And yeah, so tell us a little bit about that.
Well, the first thing when I walked in, there were handmade soaps and handmade carved jewelry. Everything is made out of wood. It's
Mm,
it's in the shape of a triangle, right? It's this two story, fully wooden, beautiful fireplace, and it's really earthy. And I
mm,
felt very much at home. I feel very connected to this space. It feels very familiar. It's lined with books and little trinkets. And my personal experience was feeling both a sadness for the hundreds of thousands of women that were burned or killed in terrible ways for being quote unquote witches, whatever that means to people or not. And then I also felt just the when you walk around the city here in Zagreb, you really look at the faces of people and you feel a hardness. You see a hardness. It's not the same as people walking around with this lightness, or they're on a mission, they're doing something, they have a slight smile or humanness. It's cold. There's a cold harshness to the faces that I see here.
mm, mm. It's interesting though that it has retained that beauty of being grounded in nature and all of nature's elements, because really that's what the witches were all about, right? They
Yeah.
were the ones who were so connected to nature. And I wonder, with that sadness and harshness, if that is partly to do with what happened there, and also the like repercussions of not being able to feel that freedom to be whatever you want to be, really, or to be
Yeah.
free to connect in these ways that innately are your power, but it's been hidden away and taken away from us and really like not allowed. for centuries for us to be able to recognize this power. And so I love that
Right.
we're talking about this today because it does still happen. That's what one of the points you made before we started recording is that like these witch hunts are still happening.
Yeah, I say it all the time. The witch hunt never ended.
Mhm. Yeah.
It used to look a certain way, and now it looks a different way. However, it's the same energy. Back in the day, amazingly, if a crusader or a sailor or an explorer was going out on a mission and there were terrible storms that day, they could blame it on the witches of the town, go into the town, find the women of the town that they want to paint as witches, and put them to trial. If they said that they were not guilty, they were accused even further now of lying, and they would be buried alive, burned, tortured in public for the weather, right?
Mhm.
Anything. People could get sick, or a stillborn could be born, and oh, it was a curse by the witches. When people were getting
Mhm.
sick of a deadly bacteria, they said it was the witches. They found out
Mhm.
years and years later it wasn't the witches. Everything could just be painted on the witches. And even making natural medicines, right? These
Mhm.
healers, energy healers, natural medicine healers, anyone that today, were there, they're being just completely disregarded and chastised and murdered. And today, the way that we're seeing it is, well, people are still getting murdered, right? Look at Dr. Sebi, look at these amazing philosophers and natural medicine specialists. However, the other way of subtly getting murdered and burned at the stake is through the quackery title that we like to put onto people, or denoting people as conspiracy theorists, or just all of these labels that we put to condescend and to push them out into the corners and the outskirts of society. It's that
Mhm.
same energetic, that same
Yeah.
undertone.
Yeah. And where I see this is when society or a group of people in society will gang up on another for one reason or another
Yeah.
without really seeing the entire picture. They take this one perspective and they say, "Oh, that perspective is true, and so let's all gang up on this person." And I've seen this in different ways here and there, and I think that we're moving away from this because we are starting to see that that's not okay, and we feel it inside that that hurts our hearts when we treat people that way. And so I know that we're starting to get this more and more and more as a collective, where we understand how important it is for us to come together, and we are getting it. I can see this. I was shown this in my meditation yesterday that like while it might look a little scary out there sometimes, don't focus on that bad apple. The bunch is healthy. The bunch is really
Mm.
healthy. And and yeah, I think we can make this type of thing a thing of the past if we remember that we are one in this, and what we do to one, we're doing to ourselves. Yeah.
Yeah.
And another point, sorry to go off, but there's um another thing I was thinking about when you were talking about that is so many of us have had those past lives, and that we've come here now with those same memories of being persecuted and tortured, and we bring that fear through of not wanting to speak our mind or use our power. It like scares us innately and we don't know why. And a lot of it is because you used to be a witch, and it's okay. You can speak your mind now because we are in a different time. We are not going to be burned at the stake anymore. Not physically anyway. And if people want to throw stones at you, that's okay because you can handle it because you are that powerful. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll tell you a little story. When I was young, even from a little baby, nobody could touch my neck. I would
Mm.
panic. I remember I have vivid memories of my grandmother washing me as a little girl, and she had a soft washcloth and she'd do my whole body. But when it came to my neck, she couldn't do it. I couldn't even use a washcloth on my neck. I had to just take the soapy water with my fingers and slowly rub my neck. Now, this progressed all throughout my teens, my early 20s. Nobody could touch my neck. You couldn't kiss me there. You couldn't touch me there. Shirts would hurt. I was so ultra sensitive. And a few years ago, I started to have these vivid feelings and memories of being hung. and being hung, being buried. I had just these vivid flashback feelings. And when I was doing a medicine ceremony, I had the full remembrance of being hung and burned at the stake for speaking my voice and speaking my truth. In this lifetime, I've also had hypothyroidism, which is connected to the throat chakra. And once I had that vision and had that memory and cleared it, my chest, I can touch it now. I can wear necklaces.
Hmm.
It is still a little bit sensitive, but it was incredible to see and to be able to go back, to go and remember like what I had gone through. And it was so clear. Even as a little girl, I would make potions and stir and mix all of these things in together and cast spells. And I have this deep, deep connection to it, just like so many of us do.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, what's really cool about these past life memories that we have, like you were feeling that physical memory, and a lot of us have those sensations. And then we also have these, like, say, things that we resonate with, certain cultures we might resonate with, or time periods, right? And and it's like a strong desire to want to learn more or be a part of that thing, whatever that thing is that you're attracted to. And or there's something that really scares you, right? And you don't know why. Or like some traumatic event in history that you like, you know, really you feel it when you hear about it. The reason why that happens is it's because it happened to you. The only reason why it's so intense within you is because you are remembering it. And I just love that we have this access to our grand continuum, like all of ourselves all the time. And we often think that we're making this stuff up or we're just imagining it. And that's not true. We're remembering. We're remembering every single time.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Absolutely. Another little story just that goes with that. I've always been so fascinated with Greek mythology and then Norse
Hmm.
mythology, and so obsessed with it, connected to it, obsessed with it. I had no clue why. Well, I traced my ancestry. I did my 23andMe, and I went back into my last name and where all four of my grandparents originated from. And almost all of them originated from the same city in Cork, Ireland. And it was very connected to the Vikings when they came over. And, like there's just a lot of war, protecting the fort, stuff, and different things and occurrences with King Niall, and it's in me, and I've always been attracted to it. And then I trace it out, and it's like, oh, of course, that's
Hmm.
where my family comes from. Of course, that's where
Right.
my lineage is from. And
Yeah.
and so when we have these connections and these obsessions that don't really make any kind of logical sense, oftentimes if you trace it back, whether consciously or through your subconscious, there's a lot there for you.
Hmm. And a lot to learn.
Before we continue on with today's episode, I'd like to take a moment to tell you a little bit about my very first book, The Golden Key: Modern Alchemy to Unlock Infinite Abundance. The concept for the book initially came to me in a dream and has been followed by a next level amount of synchronicity, confirming for me that the information in the book is pertinent to get to the world at this moment in our collective evolution. In the book, I share the 8 keys to manifesting abundance that I've personally discovered over 25 years of trial, error, and deep exploration, including one golden key that ultimately ties them all together. I think most of you will agree with me that talk is a bit cheap, especially these days, and results speak the loudest of all. Well, these keys have led me to manifesting incredible results, such as an Inc. fastest growing private company, uncanny health, incredible relationships, and success with this podcast. However, I'm not any more special than you, and anyone can apply this information to achieve incredible results in their own life. I also believe waking up our planet by sharing these keys to abundance is the quickest way to help us to transition our home into the planet of paradise it is destined to become. Which is why I'd like to gift the book to you at goldenkey.gift when you use the golden key code POSITIVEHEAD. I would also like to invite you to create your own unique golden key code so you in turn can gift the book to others, as well as invite you to participate in a unique abundance manifestation game with me and the other readers that is outlined in detail at the end of the book and on the website, where readers are also going to share the inspiring results of their abundance manifestation experiments. Lastly, I'm going to practice what I preach by sharing 50% of the abundance generated from the golden game and sale of the other golden goodies on the website with you and all the other readers. So, if you're ready to alchemize the circumstances in your life so that your abundance expands to an entirely new level, head over to goldenkey.gift to download the audio or ebook as my gift to you by using the code POSITIVEHEAD. Also, if you end up loving and appreciating your gifted copy of the book, please take a moment to go to Amazon and give it a review, which will greatly help me reach and unlock more hearts with the Golden Key.
And
Yes.
I'm just going to take a little guess here just for funsies. So is the type of man that you've always been attracted to like a Thor like guy?
100%. And
Huh,
my
I wonder
husband,
why
it
that is.
looks and my husband looks exactly like him. And
Mhm.
my husband's archetype is the knight in shining armor.
Mhm.
He's even a Sagittarius. His destiny card is the Jack of Hearts, which is the love knight. And funny enough about this, we searched back his last name, and his last name's Nell, and it goes back to Kin Niall from Cork, Ireland.
Oh,
So
stop it.
so my
I knew
last
there was a
name,
reason why I'm asking that
yeah,
question.
the O'Tuis and the Nells are from the same exact area and the same exact community,
Hmm,
descendants of the same king.
how about that?
So when we look at each other, we're like, well, we're either lovers in a past life or siblings in a past
Yeah,
life.
one or the other. Well, here's what's really cool is that we come back with our family, with our soul group every time.
Yeah.
We always do. And we choose to meet up at a certain time when it's appropriate, right? And we may not have always been husband and wife. Maybe it was, parent child. Maybe it was brother sister. Maybe it was
Yeah.
best friends, but we've always served a role or a purpose in each other's lives. And it's so beautiful to have these remembrances because it's like, yeah, oh, yeah, that feeling that I had when I met you, it's because I remembered you. I'm not just
Yes.
meeting you, I'm seeing you again. Yeah,
Exactly.
I love
I believe
that.
that love at first sight, that's exactly what it
Is
is.
that mhm,
It's soulmates or this recognition of a past life that we're coming back together, and it's this clear remembering, this knowingness. It doesn't make logical sense. It's not just a
mhm,
biological or physiological thing. It's, oh, this is what was meant to happen. We were these two
mhm.
souls that were meant to come back together because we have been together.
Yeah, yeah, it's like, "Oh, yeah, I've loved you before." Like, somewhere in your subconscious, you know that. Like, "I
Yeah.
already love you. I already know you." Yeah, it's a really interesting feeling that you can't quite put words to.
Yeah, exactly.
I love these
Exactly.
remembrances, because you really can't consciously put a finger on it. And that's okay because what that does is allow us to just let it go and accept it and just go with the flow and say, you know what? I don't need to figure it all out. It can just be what it is and it can be beautiful, and I can love it all.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so magical, and something about being here as I'm looking around this incredible space, I have so much gratitude and appreciation that we get to be here. We get to be here at this time, and we get to share our message at this time. We get to connect in different ways. Women's rights, like you can't just go and burn somebody anymore.
Hmm.
The stake is, you know, we truly do. We live in confusing times. However, we really live in a very unique time where we have freedoms that we didn't have before. And I have a lot of gratitude for the people that have come before me and who have their lives sacrificed for this iteration of consciousness.
That's such a beautiful point. Yeah. Because really, the groundwork that they laid is what allows us to be where we are today. You know,
Yeah.
it's really something to be extremely grateful for because that was not easy. And you know what? We all did that. We all did that. That was us, right? That was
Yeah.
all of us going through all of that. So we can pat ourselves on the back there and be grateful for ourselves. Like, and look what you did. Look how hard that was. This is a little easier. We got this.
you
We
know?
do have this.
Yeah.
Yes, we
Yeah.
absolutely do. It's such a great reminder. Yeah. I'm
Right?
even
Like, look
noticing in
what we've already
myself.
been through.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's when you ask me, what am I noticing? One of the things I'm noticing is I'm having a harder time speaking since being here.
Hmm.
Words aren't
Interesting.
flowing to me the same way that they do. I feel a little bit, yeah, a little choked up,
Mhm.
and
Well,
that's
that's what
rare
I
for
was
me.
wondering about the energy there, like, if it's just doing that to people, like, keeping their voice back because of the fear that is there. I mean, it's interesting to think about, how our energies stay in a place, and
Yeah.
that's why we have sacred places, right?
Mhm.
And places with different energies. I find it very, very interesting. It's all energy. And just because we can't see it doesn't mean it's not there.
Exactly. I like to think that
Mhm.
the energy of our old witch friend that lived here, that she would be proud that I'm staying in her old home.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. I know
Yeah.
she would. Absolutely. And so happy to see how far we've all come.
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. For anyone who is interested in the witchcraftery, the old alchemy, in the history as well, I definitely recommend a trip to Eastern Europe. To Croatia's amazing. Czech, Prague, some of Slovenia, some of the different
Mm,
countries here. There's just such a richness and a history that you can't experience from a textbook. I
yeah.
highly recommend making a trip out this way whenever possible.
Mm, great idea. I would love to do that. I would love to tour it all, see it all. There's so much to see, so much
There
to
is.
explore. Yeah. So much to
Mhm.
learn. Fun times. I love this life. There's so much to learn. You'll never learn it all. So we get to come back and do it again. And that's
Yay!
fun.
And
See,
sometimes it
it's
feels
all
fun,
fun.
sometimes it feels like, "I'm done. I don't wanna do it anymore."
I know, it's true. Sometimes it does, but if you can reframe it and be like, "You know what? This is all supposed to be fun." It really
Mhm.
is. I came here to have this experience, to enjoy it, to learn from it, right? And to grow from it. And when I look back on it, it was so fun. It was so
Yeah,
fun. Yeah. And every little bit about it is so magical if you choose for it to be, right?
yeah,
It's just a matter of focus.
and
Yeah.
not getting lost in the weeds because sometimes it's challenging and it's weedy,
Yeah.
and take that macro perspective and look and think, "Oh, at the end of it, I'm gonna look back and those hard times, I'm just gonna laugh because the rest of
Mhm.
it was amazing."
Mhm. And also, like we've been saying, be so grateful. Thank you for that because without that, I wouldn't be as amazing as I am today. So thanks for that, you know? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Uh,
You are amazing, Samantha. I love you so. I think
mm.
we will leave you guys all with a song for today. Actually, not quite yet. Today is one of those days where after we stopped recording, something very interesting happened. And luckily, I still had my track recording, but unfortunately, we didn't have Samantha's recording. But that's okay. I'm going to reiterate what happened and the message that I did get on the recording that came through, which I think is really, really important to share. What's interesting is as soon as we stopped recording, Samantha and I started talking. And the first thing that came up was that it was so important that she was there because to bring her energy to this place was important. And this is why we wind up going to different places and traveling to these different places so we can bring our energy there. And she started to tell me that since she had been there, it had been kind of hard for her to get her words out. Like she wasn't as freely speaking as she's used to. And then she started to tell me that as we were recording, the battery on her computer went all the way down really, really quickly, like 60% it went down. And then it went back up at some point, which is weird, she said, because it's never ever done that. And as she told me that, the lights behind her on the wall flickered twice. And I said, "Did you see that? Your lights flickered." And she said, "I thought that was you. I saw it on the screen." And I said, "Yeah, the lights flickered behind you. And so it flickered on the screen and you saw it." And she recognized the fact that the spirit there in the house there she's staying was speaking to her.
So I wanted to play this little piece of the conversation so you can hear the message that came through about this, because I really think it is a good general point. And also, I think it's really, really cool how it all came through and how the energy was so intense. And I always love to share that with you guys. So here it is. Yeah, exactly. She's talking to you because we were just talking about the battery. And the point is the draining of the energies, right? So don't allow it to do that. You need to pull in that creator source energy for yourself while you're there. That whole place needs that. Oh, okay. Yeah, I feel it so strong. That whole place needs this so strongly to pull up that creator energy from the earth. That's why we were talking about this. So do that for them, and that will increase your energy and the energy of the space there. So that was it, short and sweet, but I wanted to play that because I think it's a really important reminder that our energy matters, and that even though an energy may feel a certain way, that it can be transmuted and transformed, and that we can help with that. We can contribute to the wellness of all of us. And it's important that we're all doing that all the time, and that we understand that we have that power. Samantha and I had goosebumps, both of us, after that. And so that's always a really amazing confirmation that this is true. All of this is true. The information that came through is true. And I hope you all enjoy that. I will leave you officially with a song for today. This is Drum Spider, Oak Tree Hex. Until next time, love you all.
Also, quickly, before we cue up today's song, I wanted to remind you to download the Golden Key, audio or ebook, as my free gift to you at goldenkey.gift using the code POSITIVEHEAD. I also wanted to remind you that I will now be doing a live Q&A every Thursday night at 6 p.m. Pacific time on the new social audio app Clubhouse. I have really been wanting to connect and interact with all of you more for quite some time, and I'm super excited to now have 2 new ways to do it. First, if you're already on Clubhouse, be sure to follow me and click the little bell on my profile and select to always be notified when I go live on the Clubhouse app. And if you'd like to connect on an even more intimate Zoom gathering once a month, now you can do that too by registering at goldenkey.gift.